Hello,
Alright.
hello, and welcome on
Yes.
into an episode of Fancast Friday. It caught me figuratively with my pants down, and now my thing is frozen. What is going on here? We have the music. Okay, this is off to a great start. First Fancast Friday of the year. Thank you guys for joining us here live. If you are watching live, that's great. John, you can put my name thing up because I don't know why, but this thing is frozen on my end. But yeah, my name is Daniel. I am your host. The most? I don't know. I don't know about that one. But hey, we're fan casting Cyclops and Jean Grey for the MCU today. Of course, we're talking about the Mutant Saga. So once we get past the current return of the Fox X-Men, as it were. And with me today to talk about that, we have got John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty damn good. Uh, Cyclops and Jean Grey are not my favorite, X-Men. Honestly, they're kind of milquetoast to me. They're kind of boring. They're not particularly interesting. That's why I kind of don't really care about them. But obviously, you guys voted for them, so here we are. We're discussing them. So obviously, we will show at the very beginning the actual tier list. So let's get into that. We have the tier list here. Oh, wrong tier list. That's okay. We got sorry, not the tier list, the poll.
The Fancast Friday poll.
Our poor Jordan Peele catching strays. The
Ouch.
Wonder Woman director is going to be showing up next time on the poll. But MCU Cyclops and Jean Grey fucking annihilated everything. So I was like, all right, guess we're doing that. I'm not really. It's probably not going to be the best Fancast because I'm not really familiar with Cyclops and Jean Grey all that much, and from what little I know of them,
John's gonna have fun with
I'm
this.
not real. I literally did a fucking Fancast, the last Fancast Friday in regards
It
to
was the
X-Men.
X-Men. It was the X-Men. Yeah. Tony was sleeping
Um,
for that one. That's why Tony doesn't
yeah.
remember.
Yeah, but yeah, so you picked MCU Cyclops and Jean Grey for the Mutant Saga reboot after Secret Wars. So, yeah, so these are our picks, and we will get into them. But are you feeling pretty good, Dan?
I'm
Feeling
feeling
good today?
okay. My whole system literally froze up as we were going live, but I think it's okay now. It's okay now. Let's get into it. So, if you guys are not familiar with the format, we obviously just went over the poll that resulted in today's topic. You guys voted for it. So, we're gonna have how many picks, John? Is it 3 picks for Cyclops and 3 picks for Jean Grey? We're gonna go through. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
alternate. So, we're gonna do one pick for Cyclops, one pick for Jean Grey, and then rinse and repeat. And then we have one honorable mention for each of the characters, Cyclops and Jean Grey, and then we'll for each pick we're going to give you a likelihood meter rating which goes from 1 through 10, with 1 being the least likely to happen and 10 being the likeliest, basically confirmed almost. It's rarely that we give it anything a 10 or a 1, but usually somewhere along the spectrum. The likelihood meter is more about, oh yeah, we would love to see it for all these reasons, or not. But how likely is it that in this case Kevin Feige and company would actually cast them in real life? So we look at that, how likely is it actually? And then you guys are welcome to drop your comments in the live chat if you're watching while you're live. If you have picks that you want to throw our way while we are live, we'll bring those in after we go through the picks that we have chosen here. And then if you're watching after we are live, get in the comments down below. We'll take those picks and we'll bring those in to a future a show and talk about them there. Now we got some new names in the chat. I just wanted to say hello to HND, SMW, KWRD. I have no idea who can be Scott though. Is Sadie Jean? We will get into that. We'll get into that. And of course, everybody else watching, let's dive into this. Kavi is here, also another new name. He's got his picks. We're saving these up. We'll bring them back into the conversation later. All right, John, without further ado, let's dive into it. Our first pick for Cyclops. I believe this is one of yours. Talk about it.
Yes, my first pick is a Nick Robinson. I went with 30 because it feels like they're kind of going around this for the reboot. The rumors are all circulating that they want to go younger, so they're probably going to go younger. They're probably going to have all the more popular X-Men characters like Cyclops, Jean, Storm, and they're probably going to go very young for most of them, if not all of them. Yeah. So for Nick Robinson, he's been circulated a lot about comical fan casting. I think he would be a pretty good Cyclops. He can be a leading man. Love Simon was proved that he could lead his own movie if need be. If they do plan to make Cyclops the protagonist, because after he was kind of wasted in the Fox X-Men movies, I can imagine that they want to double down on Cyclops and maybe make him like, he's being the leader of the X-Men. They want to make him the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been in big blockbuster films in the past. He was in Jurassic World. I don't know if you remember that, but he was one of the kids in that movie. Exactly, enterprising, exactly. There's that, and he's proven himself as an actor. I think he's a very good actor. I think he has had a wide range of roles that has showcased his acting ability. I remember I was watching him in A Teacher, and he was really good in that. It showed like a lot of vulnerability, a lot of demons that he has with throughout that show. And so I think that could definitely showcase the more vulnerable side of Cyclops, more like flawed, kind of broken Cyclops if they do decide to go with that. So I think that would be I think he could do the role well. However, he isn't really doing a ton of big blockbuster stuff now. He does mainly smaller films and shows. And what I mean by hasn't proven himself in ways necessary for the role is that he hasn't had like that level of like leadership that I feel like some of the other some of the other actors in this list have for Cyclops. That is, so he's a little so he usually plays smaller voice characters. He usually is kind of more reserved and grounded. Not saying Cyclops can't be that, but like I feel like Cyclops being the leader of the X-Men, he's more brash and like kind of out there and kind of in your face about things. So I think this is the case of I think he would do I don't think he would be the best choice for the role, but I think he would still be very good, especially if they want to really truncate the ensemble piece with a little
Well,
bit of a protagonist role for Cyclops.
like, let me ask you this question, because like, we all have like a criteria because part of this fan casting, and then you guys sending us out your picks as well. It all depends on who we see, like what iteration of the character we see playing out in the movies, right? Because James Marsden was pretty much an unknown and pretty green as an actor, as they would say. Like he wasn't that experienced. They brought him in, and that was the role that put him on the map. And say what you will about his ability as an actor or not, but they clearly, had a version of Cyclops that, quite frankly, got overshadowed by Wolverine at every step of the way in that iteration, the Fox X-Men. But hopefully, we'll get a little bit of a redemption arc, for his version of the character, and Doomsday coming out this year. We know he's in Avengers Doomsday, but moving forward, like obviously, I think with his age, Nick Robinson's not quite in his 20s; he's 30. Do you think that because like Kevin Feige said he would like to have somebody in their 20s at one point? I don't know if that could change. But John, are you looking for an X-Men like team where Cyclops and Jean Grey are the leaders at the time, or are they kind of growing into it? Because again, we have had these two iterations even in the Fox universe with the first class, where you saw a young Cyclops that never quite got to
Right.
the point with the James Marsden version of the character. They never quite bridged the divide between those two generations of
They
X-Men
didn't
characters,
know.
Fox. But like, where do you think the MCU starts? Because you also got to like think about like, are they going to place these characters in the '60s or not? Because are they going to be
Yeah,
based in
so
the
there
present day?
is like a whole bunch of that to talk about. I'm just talking about like in terms of acting ability, I think he could be good for the role, and I think he maybe um yeah, exactly. He's brash and in your face, and Nick Robinson I think can be that. It just I think there are other slightly better actors, but like when I saw his face, I'm like, I think he could do it. I think he could especially grow into the role properly, however they do in fact decide to do it. So
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, what is your likelihood meter for Nick Robinson? How likely is it that Kevin Feige and co will actually cast him for the role of Cyclops?
For me, I do think that it's probably not incredibly likely, but I'll be a little bit positive. I think maybe a 6. I'd buy that for $1. I think he's reasonably likely, but not incredibly likely. But I think he could be good. It's just like the age might be a little bit much. He looks young even for his age. Like I know he's this. I think that's an older picture. Um, but I tried to pick the youngest of people I'm aware of at least. 30 might be a little bit old, but I think, you know, I mean, look at the Stranger Things cast. Like, they were in their late 20s and they were all playing fucking high schoolers. So,
I mean, but
it's,
yeah, yeah, kind of like very 80s, like, how things used to go in the 80s.
yeah. So I think he's a good likelihood, just maybe not the best.
Hey, figure
So,
going. We also got Stacy in the chat
not,
now.
maybe not in the eyes of Kevin Feige. Maybe he wants, like, super babies. Like, he wants, like, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. So, you know.
I mean, look, it's all about like because there's plenty of actors. Like when Angelina was on the show, or more regularly, she would talk about how essentially it's not about what your actual age is; it's what you can play, like what you could pull off on camera. Um, so yeah, I mean, you could be 30 and can look at 25. There you could also be 30 and look 39. Like it just depends. So. Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep on going then. We got our first pick for Cyclops, and then now we got to talk about our first pick for Jean Grey. Who do we have here?
So the first pick I had, I actually had this in mind before, Geeky Guy said anything, because I think she would be good, and especially it fits more into, like, what I think Kevin Feige wants. So she has proven herself in an ensemble before, both It and Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
She was a really good, underrated part of the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I wish they did more with her, which is the unfortunate part. But I think she has proven herself in an ensemble, which is like with X-Men, that's the most important part. Even if you have certain characters being more so a protagonist, I think that would definitely help with like kind of everyone having the spotlight, but she's noteworthy, but also can have good chemistry with one another. And she's played a superpowered being before, with, See Above with Dungeons and Dragons. Tiefling is different from, telepath, but, it all works. Yeah, I think, and we'll be getting to that. And she's done a mix and wide range of projects. Like, she's done It, but then she's also done Dungeons & Dragons. She's done, like, very, very small projects. Like, she did that thing with one of the other kids from It, who played Stan. Like, I don't want to live here anymore, or whatever the fuck. It had, like, or The World is Fucking Ending, or whatever. One of those, like, weirdly named Netflix shows that's just a sentence, and, like, they all sound the same. But she's done a lot of, like, wide range of stuff, and she's proven herself as an actress. Latest thing was she appeared in a little bit of a cameo in It, Welcome to Derry, spoiler alert, but, she appeared in the post-credit scene of that show. But the thing is, in terms of, I'm just talking about my choices, the age difference would be a bit awkward considering, like, if she's, like, Nick Robinson, and then her, it would be awkward. However, it would be very much in character for Jean Grey to be in an awkward romance because, Professor X was fiending for that minor, so, he had those Diddy claims. In like the early comics too. Everyone forgets about that, but Professor X was a bit of a creep. But I didn't steal it. I already had it before you did. I just didn't say it. So, I already had her in mind because when we have like the poll, I already have people in mind so that we can get a one up in case there's anything in regards to that. So, just saying. Anyway, so there's possible scheduling conflicts with films and TV series. She is going to be in a TV series as well as a couple films. So there might be some soon scheduling conflicts for that if they do start production soon, because the alleged date for X-Men is like 2028, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. But she might not be interested in the MCU. I know that's kind of cop out reasoning, but like maybe she being in more indie projects, she doesn't want to be in the MCU and just kind of wants to
Well,
do her own thing. So
I mean, I think they also have a D&D sequel potentially in the works.
I can't
Yeah, and
imagine because that bombed. So
well, I think it wasn't like it was like a Pacific Rim kind of bomb where it didn't quite flop so hard. Like it wasn't really a flop depending on who you ask. I think they did make money on it. It just was more or less broke even. It wasn't it wasn't like a Flash level flop. So
right.
I don't know. But again, I'm not sure if that's actually still happening. She's got like those beautiful green eyes. Like that's the standout feature. You look at that photo, you're
Blue.
like, oh, blue. All right, well
Yeah,
there you
they're
go.
blue.
I'm
She has blue
colorblind.
eyes.
Blue eyes. Well,
Which is
she
funny
would.
because Jessica Chastain has brown eyes, so and they didn't even bother to put contacts on her for it chapter two. It's like you're not even trying there,
So
buddy. Come
yeah.
on.
Well, anyway, but likelihood meter. What do you think? How likely is it that Sophia could get cast in
I
this role?
think she's pretty likely. I'm gonna say let her cook because I think she's a good enough name. She's been in a lot of noteworthy projects. I
Between it
think
and
they
D and D,
probably
yeah.
have eyes on her. I think, and I feel like the cons are a bit reaching and cop outish. So I don't think she's gonna. Obviously, there's no 100%, but but I think she is likely more likely than some of the other people on this list. So
Yeah. That's good. I'll take it. I mean, she's got the right kind of resume too. Where, like keep talking about Sadie Singh. Somebody was asking about Harris Dickinson. We'll get to those names later, but uh, like she's a known commodity. She's also worked. I think this is underrated when people do fan casting. Sometimes they don't take into account the business aspect of things, where you want to bring in, and not just business. It's also like a young actor who has never acted in a big franchise studio tentpole is going to have a harder time adjusting to that because these productions are huge. Like there's huge set pieces. You're acting, with a bigger cast. Sometimes people who are much more experienced than you. But not only that, it's much more so the idea that you're working on these huge sets with huge teams. You might have long days, then you have reshoots. You got to do the promotional work after. Usually that's part of your contract, and there's just so much more that comes with the movie like this, plus the scrutiny and the spotlight, and oftentimes the criticism alongside it, whether it's fair or unfair, from the fans, and the dark side of the internet as well, of course, especially with like these big franchises like the MCU. So are you ready for that? Now, of course, it and Dungeons and Dragons are totally different, kind of, you know, ball game than what you're gonna get with the MCU in terms of the level of attention and scrutiny. But having done those big studio projects before, I think she's well prepared to come in and not feel like she's gonna get swallowed up by the scale of the operation, as it were.
mm-hmm.
And then when you look at the director, was it named Jake Schreier, right? Who's going to be working on the
Yes.
movie? He just did Thunderbolts. He's great at character work. He showed that in Thunderbolts, and I think the idea here would be he would translate those same skills into an X-Men movie and hopefully give us an X-Men movie that really gives us the best of these characters, and not so much because I feel like the Fox X-Men movies, especially early on, were much more plot driven, or like they certainly highlighted a few characters at the behest of many of the others, and the hope here would be that you don't introduce like 12, 15 of them in the same movie that all need to get their own like spotlight, but hopefully the ones you do get to see, maybe there's like 5, 6, that seems to be the magical number, somewhere in that, or maybe 6 or 7, 6 to 7, um and that could be a situation where like you're able to spend enough time with each character and like help them grow, and put a spotlight on them and how they kind of figure into everything. So yeah, I like this idea. I agree with you, and yeah, like I said, she's a pretty good fit for the role. But now we move on to our first um Stranger Things star of the night, potentially
Um.
in the MCU.
Yeah. So for me, I have Joe Keery in the role. I think he has the vibe and the personality down pat, where he can play likable yet obnoxious really well, much like how Cyclops kind of is. He's a great actor, and he can be very charismatic and can be a great leader to either people his own age or kids, as we've seen in Stranger Things. Like, that's kind of the go-to in terms of Joe Keery feeling like his character. But I think, I think he is an underrated talent, but maybe he doesn't want to commit to something else huge after Stranger Things. Like, he wants to kind of move on from big things because he does like a lot of indie stuff. So maybe he wants to focus on that before like committing to something else for another 10 fucking years, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and X-Men. So he's also part of a band, Post Animal, I think it's called. He wants to focus on his music. I know he did a lot of that when like during like the breaks from Stranger Things, where he was touring and whatnot. And as I said, he's mainly doing small indie projects. I'm definitely going to be watching that. What's it called? The zombie movie he's going to be where he plays the warehouse worker. That looks really funny. So I think, I think.
Well, he's certainly again
Cold Storage.
Profile
Thank you.
actor. Yeah.
Acres and Moose, Cold Storage. Yes.
He's got the right profile in terms of experience, but he is also 33, which I think is the oldest pick we have got, either Cyclops or Jean Grey so far.
5 years ago, he would have been better.
If
they were doing.
He doesn't look it though. I mean, he doesn't look 33. Like, that's something to worth looking at. I guess it depends again on whether they're gonna lean into the Jean Grey Cyclops romance right from the get-go, or they're gonna go in a different direction. I don't know, like that. Right. That's also maybe part of it. Like, but because maybe with, I don't know if you're gonna ever find out if they're gonna cast these two characters in pairs because they're gonna do chemistry tests like what they did with Superman and Lois Lane for Superman. Well, last year, and James Gunn clearly did that, and they did testing, and that's not the only time we have seen that. I mean, they do it all the time. But John, you mentioned between the pros and the cons. I feel like the cons don't really outweigh the opportunity to be in the MCU and collect those paychecks for the rest of your life, for all the royalties and all those things that might come with that. Do you really think he would say no to the idea if he was offered the role, or if he auditioned for it and they said, yeah, we want to go in, with you as the new Cyclops?
I think I'm just saying, like, maybes, like what would be the cons if he didn't want to go for that. So I do think that he would maybe have some reservations about that, and plus maybe they're not starting as soon as we think. We'll see. But I do think that there is the higher likelihood than most, because I just think he'd be perfect for the role. It's just that the only major con I think is Eric. That he's too old. Is that he's 33, and I think they're trying to go for mid-20s rather than early 30s.
And
even if he doesn't look it.
And here's something that I'll mention here for a second. James Marsden was 26 when X-Men 2000 came out, the first X-Men movie from Fox. So Kevin Feige was involved with those movies back in the day, like not, at the level that he is now. He was like a very junior producer at that time. But I guess they were casting these roles in their 20s back even in the 2000s. So like you said, maybe he is maybe that is ultimately what disqualifies him. Although again, he can play some, especially if you want to go with a leader, because again, that version of Cyclops never was really that comic leader, like what you see in the X-Men 97 or X-Men the animated series that Marvel loves so much. So I don't know, or maybe they can build towards that. Maybe that's the idea. Anyway,
so I think even though the age is kind of a major thing, I'm gonna say 9, because just like when I was scrolling through like people, when I saw Joe Keery, I'm like, that's perfect. That's perfect casting. Like, I can't, like, outside of the age, like, that is probably some of the most perfect casting I have seen for someone. So, Joe Keery or bust. That's what I have to say.
Who was the other actor who played Cyclops in the first class?
Ty Sheridan.
Ty Sheridan, okay. I'm trying to remember. I mean,
he was good. It's just he didn't really have any time to shine, is all. Because he was in Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, and those were not the best.
And he, again, never got to really be that significant part of the team that we'd like to see. But By the way, Kavi asking a question: should MCU do solo X-Men films for group members or do a team up movie? Well, they're gonna do a team up movie first. They're gonna do an X-Men movie, and then they're probably gonna introduce only some of the characters, and then eventually, get to the others. Uh, I'm sure some will get solo movies. I don't see that right out the gate. It just depends on who Marvel feels that can pull off their own movie. Maybe Storm could be a character, depending on how tied that might character might be to the X Men or Wakanda. I don't know. Famke Jensen was 35 in 2000. Yeah, I mean she was a much bigger. I mean she had been a Bond girl. Like she had a much more decorated career. So there was that too. But again, that movie kind of played off Logan and Jean Grey more as in the love triangle than it did Cyclops. So I don't know. Again, not it's apples to oranges in that sense. But John,
Right.
this is your next pick for, of course, Jean Grey, Annalise Basso,
Yes, Annalise
yeah,
Basso. I think she
27,
has worked in kind of like hit and
yeah,
miss a bit. Like she's done a lot of big stuff, mainly with Mike Flanagan. She recently did Life of Chuck with him last year.
yeah,
She has proven to be a great talent. She,
hmm
working under Mike Flanagan, that definitely helped her career in a lot of ways. Like she being in Oculus and or Ouija Origin of Evil, Life of Chuck, all those films. But she's also done some other work as well. She has been in superhero media before. She appeared in an episode of Constantine. So there's that as well. And I've been
Hi Bob.
impressed with her acting ability. Since then, I mean, she is the sister of Gabriel Basso, who is currently the Night Agent. So that's
Oh,
also
oh, I was like, there's okay, that makes so much more sense. Thank you. I was like,
yes.
why does that like ring a bell? Why does that ring a bell? Okay, all right, got it.
So I think that would be really awesome, and maybe you could have Gabriel Basso be like Cable or like
Oh,
one of her kids, like from the future
yeah.
later on. That could be kind of funny, like a
That
wink and
would
a
be
nod kind
very
of thing.
meta, yeah.
But yeah, I think she's great. She's done a lot of great stuff for that. All right, gross. But I think she's
What?
done great work. She's a great actress. But she hasn't really been in anything big, so that's kind of the big thing. And she's a bit more of a TV actress. I think she was recently in the Snowpiercer show, and I think she's on another show right now. And she hasn't been part of a major ensemble. Um, I think she hasn't done like a big group thing. Like she's worked with like across like one other person or like a couple other people, but she hasn't been part of a big ensemble, which may or may not help. But I will say that that's maybe a bit of a detractor, and I think maybe she needs to prove herself a bit more in film, considering that she hasn't been outside of her projects with Mike Flanagan. She hasn't really been in a ton of great movies like Slender Man and stuff like that. So, and that's kind of a shame because I do think she is a very good actress. Especially as a kid, when you notice that like she was working, like she held her own against adult actors, which is very noticeable whenever kids can do that. Um, so I think I would say so. I think a redhead is probably a must for Jean.
But I
And
mean, Sadie Singh did say you could change your hair color, obviously. Like, you don't need to be a natural redhead in
I
that
mean, look at
sense.
Kirsten Dunst. She's a
Yep,
blonde and she became a redhead for Mary
yep.
Jane. Bryce Dallas Howard did the opposite for Gwen Stacy, so but I think Annalise Basso, great actress, has some reservations here or there, but overall I think she's really good. However, she might be a little bit older than who Kevin Feige, maybe, if those rumors are true. So I think that would be I think she would be great for the role.
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know if you,
for so far, this is my favorite pick of the two that you've put out there. You get somebody who's in their 20s. I mean, I could easily see, again, Sophia could be great, but Annalise feels like she's got a little more heft to her resume. Although, again, both have done plenty of good work. Uh, well, Sophia's actually done bigger movies for comparison's sake, where
Mhm.
Annalise kind of has flown more under the radar. Uh, like I said, this would be a casting where you probably are going to do chemistry tests. So if it goes with two actors in their 20s, more or less, again, it's not so much about the exact age as it is about like what can you pull off. Like Joe Keery could pull off somebody in his 20s still, even though he is in his 30s. Uh, I mean, Annalise. doesn't look that much older. I mean, this is one photo we've got on screen, but there's if you look at the comparisons, I think Sophia skews younger, and Annalise relative like I think looks more her actual age, which again depends on really how they're casting these roles. Are they gonna
Right.
because Famke Jensen was like in her 30s, and they went in a different direction with those movies. And then Sophie, why am I forgetting? Sophie Turner obviously was much younger with First Class, but they were kind of building them up. She's definitely got the acting chops. So there you go. And I think on
Hmm.
that alone, that's a good pick. What do you think?
Yeah. I would say it's a likelihood is a 9. I think she would be fantastic for the role. I think I
So you
think
think it's
she
very likely that she could land the role, like 9 out of
I
10?
think
Kevin
so because
Feige
I
would
think
say
she's
yes.
kind of in that perfect kind of Sophia Lillis where she's kind of a known name, but she
Yeah.
hasn't like broken through quite yet. Plus,
Hmm.
she's got great dancing moves. So, like, if Tom Hiddleston comes back as Loki, they could definitely do like a dancing thing. So, like, they definitely, could make that work.
Yeah, Tom
But
Hiddleston just had another baby, right, with his partner Zoe Ashton, who was in the Marvels. That's
yeah,
He's a busy
um,
man, and the Night Manager and everything, and doing Avengers Doomsday. Anyway, but yeah,
right. So I think she would be great for the role. But
yeah,
that's just me.
yep.
Dan, why don't you
Uh,
introduce uh uh
so okay,
your
so we kind
picks?
of split the duties a little bit. Usually, John picks out all the Fancast Friday picks, as it were. I went ahead and chose a couple today. So John still got the majority. I added in one for Jean Grey and
Well, I
one
know
for
Dan was
Cyclops.
busy prepping stuff, so I'll
So
give you a couple because
yeah,
I know like that's mainly your duty, so I didn't want to fucking inundate
yeah,
you with too much. So
it's all good. Well, so here's my pick for Cyclops. I'm gonna go with Jack Champion. I think Khabib might be on to me because he suggested Jack Champion, and if you've seen the thumbnail, Sadie Sink might enter the conversation soon. Um, he's 21 years old. You might know him from the Avatar movies, specifically The Way of Water and Fire and Ash. He plays Spider, who's Quaritch's human son. Who
yeah, you probably
there's
don't
a pretty
recognize
big
him because of his horrible dreadlocks in those movies.
and he's also
Uh,
like got the all the blue like tattoos or whatever. He's basically Tarzan and Pandora. Uh, he's still 21. He's only 21. Like they brought him obviously
which is
James
funny because he
Cameron.
looks older than Joe Keery does.
Well, in this photo, I mean, but it's look. Here's the thing. Uh, First of all, figure drawing. I don't know if the height matters so much. They can fake that. They can make that work. Uh, Bob Jones, hi Bob. Not really a fan of the idea of getting Spider. Look, he's only 21. He can grow into the role. Again, you would be looking at more of even younger than Ty Sheridan, I think, when he was cast in the first class iteration of Cyclops. But look, he's hot off the success of the Avatar franchise, and the Avatar movies take years to film. And they do them in like I mean, it's not even like your traditional filmmaking process, right? So it's very unique, and so you could tell. And with him, because he's playing a human character, like James Cameron mentioned during the promotion of the new Avatar movie, that for a human character, they have to shoot it even more times because they have to do the pass where he's got all the motion capture data on him because then they're in some shots they'll just replace him with a digi double. So it's all CGI, like a digital version of his character, even though it's meant to be live action. Then they will shoot him in front of a green screen, so you actually then composite that into the digital CGI Pandora environment. And then there's one where he's interacting, with all the other characters, but those stuntmen are dressed in all these blue, suits, so they don't show up. And then you have to take those multiple passes and put it together. So Jack Champion has done these movies like that process, that filmmaking process is closer to the Marvel filmmaking process, and the amount of time, the scale of those movies, I think prepared Jack Champion to potentially take on, a role where it's Cyclops, like you're gonna be working on these big movies and you're gonna be spending years of your life doing this. He's already done that with Avatar, and I'm pretty sure Avatar is gonna have a fourth and possibly fifth movie. So while that keeps him busy and that might be like a con, the idea that he might be tied down to the Avatar franchise already for the next few years, I think he could still make it work. Like, but you could do more than two movies a year. Uh, and so yeah, he's got the experience working in big tent poles. He's got the resume. I mean, he Avatar is now under Disney as well, so he's already under the House of Mouse, and he's got the age profile. We keep talking about it. At the age 21, they can really build a franchise around him, and he can, and he's got the physique. Obviously, if you've seen the Avatar movies, you can bulk up more over time, and yeah, you'd be going with a much younger Cyclops. Uh, Although again, because he's not done a ton more than Avatar, that might be one limiting factor. Like, what are you looking for from him in terms of his acting ability? But then again, because you're casting young, you might be able to grow into that. But you don't always hit because, like Sophie Turner, I feel like was maybe not the right pick at the end of the day for Jean Grey.
No, she was
Um,
not.
so like but
I
they
don't
couldn't
think
really
so
tell at the
personally.
time. She was in Game of Thrones, and like so she had enough credentials. I mean, and obviously now she's still getting roles, but maybe she wasn't the right pick. I think for most people she didn't fit the description for what they were looking for with Jean Grey. But all around, maybe one con could also be that Marvel might want to skew a little bit older. Like we have talked about, the oldest Cyclops actor we have suggested is Joe Keery at 33, and he's 12 years younger than him. So maybe the middle ground would be 24, 25. Maybe he is a couple of years too young. I don't know, John. What do you think?
I think he's perfect. I think this is a really, really, really good pick. I didn't even think of it. I thought I didn't even because I kind of keep forgetting he exists a little bit. Not a dig on him. It's just like I only know him
It's
from
got a
those
cool
movies, and
name.
their movies are kind of forgettable. So I think he's in really good shape. I think he's a really good actor. As somebody said, coming from the Cameron School, I think that's definitely something. And going from one bland, forgettable franchise to another, I think that definitely works. I think
Bland.
I think this is a let him cook.
I think
I
so
think
too.
he's definitely likely, and I think he's definitely in the running. And plus, if he wins the role, he's definitely going to be a champion. So anyway,
Thank you, thank you. I should hit the applause on that. That's the wrong sound effect. There we go. There we
yes.
go.
So,
Uh,
yeah, I think he would be great as Cyclops.
I think so too. Let him cook. I think that's a good. That sounds about right. And you know what? On that note, let's talk about Sadie Sink because, of course, uh, the proverbial elephant in the room. We know she's gonna be playing a mutant character potentially in Spider-Man. We know she's in the movie. We don't know who she's playing so far from like the leaked trailer footage. She was kind of in a hoodie, shrouded. Like we didn't really see what she looks like. We've seen her on set, behind the scenes set photos, but that doesn't really give anything away. And if you're playing Jean Grey, most of her powers are manifest and like CGI effects, unless Marvel does that stuff, in camera, which they likely won't, because that's another way they can hide that stuff. So, um, we're gonna have to wait and find out, but we might find out pretty soon because it looks like they might be putting out that Spider-Man brand new day trailer within the next few weeks time, maybe certainly by the Super Bowl, I'd imagine. So if she is Jean Grey, we will find out soon. And so here's my argument for why and why not she should be Jean Grey, and if she's not, then we'll know soon enough. But she's obviously just coming off the success of Stranger Things, which just finished this finale that was also in theaters, did really good numbers. And some of you were saying in the chat, like, she is probably the best actor amongst everybody from the cast of the Stranger Things, even though she wasn't in the first season. For somebody who came in a couple of seasons into the show, she became a pretty iconic part of that franchise. And she's also like she's doing stage plays. Like she's not just acting for the camera, she's also acting on the stage. It takes a lot of guts and it takes a lot of talent and ability to be a stage actor, especially at her age. That fact that she can pull that off. Like we talked about, like the new actress who's going to be playing Hermione Granger in the new Harry Potter TV series was Matilda, was it? I think on the West End in
I
London.
think so.
Like at her age, I'm like, yes, you got the right person for the job, because when you're on stage there's no like cut, let's do another take. You got a live audience, you got to go with it, you got to pull, especially if you're doing dramatic roles. And so you have to just go. Like Idris Elba acted on stage before he became an actor, now he's knighted. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. um but I'm just saying Sadie Sings has got the acting chops. She's also got the high profile, like she's a well-known commodity. She's already in the MCU, so she might just be Jean Grey until Like it's that whole Schrodinger's cat situation. When the trailer comes out, is she Jean Grey or not? We'll find out. Uh, but she's also got the perfect age profile. She's only 23, so plenty of room to grow. You can and you know what? She can pull off a character that can look a little bit older or a little bit younger, depending on what you're going for. I don't think we need to know the exact age of the Jean Grey character in the movie. I don't think we'll ever find that out. But uh, I think from where she is now to where she might be headed, certainly I think she's got a higher ceiling than Sophie Turner had when she got cast in the role in Fox. And while all of those things are working in her favor, John, she might just be playing a different character in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Like, there's been theories that it might be more of a Spider-Man related character than
Yeah,
even
that
though
would
it could
make
be a
sense.
mutant.
Wow, a Spider-Man character being in a Spider-Man movie. That's crazy.
But I mean, given that it's the MCU, there could still be more of a mutant tinge to it. Uh, I do think the Fox X-Men will get killed. In fact, the rumors, the plot leaks supposedly do talk about the Fox X-Men getting a big send-off by getting killed off somehow. Maybe
Yeah,
they
this is the
go out in a
16th
blaze of
send-off,
glory.
but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, like especially for Professor X, that Patrick Stewart's Professor X has died like 4 times in the Fox continuity spontaneity. The other thing I was gonna say, this is something that I don't know if a lot of people have been thinking about. If she comes in as a character who's a one-off in Spider-Man: Brand New Day, that's one thing. But if you're gonna bring her in as a Jean Grey, who's clearly gonna need to carry a franchise for multiple movies, she's the highest profile actor of anybody we have mentioned in this list so far. And that includes like her co-star from Stranger Things, Joe Keery. Like, I don't know if you agree, John, but I think like she's clearly the biggest name. And that usually with it carries a higher price tag. So signing her for a multi-picture lead role in the Mutant Saga like Jean Grey is going to be more costly for Marvel. Now, Marvel is certainly not short on cash or money to like spend on
Right.
bringing in the best of the best. I just with the X-Men, you're going to be casting so many characters, and you want to make sure you get these right, and maybe
Yeah.
you prioritize certain ones over other. I don't know. I'm just like, thinking of it as a con. Maybe she commands too high a salary to play more than in one movie. Like, if she's there and not there after Brand New Day, that's one thing. But if she's gonna be Jean Grey, like, you better expect her to stick around. So there's that. And then I couldn't really think of a good third con, so I just put down Too Short. I don't think that's really a problem. That's why there's a question mark there. Uh, but John, overall, again, this might be proven false in weeks' time from now when we're doing the show. But I still like her as a good fit. She's a great actress.
If we're getting rid of the idea of her being in Brand New Day, I think she could be a good choice, maybe not the best choice. However, considering she is in Brand New Day and she's most likely not playing Jean Grey, I'm giving this a 1 because I don't think that she's Jean Grey. However, in terms of what's going on, I don't think she is. However, separating the fact, maybe like she gets killed and then reset happens and then they can cast
I was
her
gonna
as Jean
say.
Grey. Let's say,
I was gonna say maybe,
and if
maybe.
that's the case, I'll give her like a 7. I don't think she's the best for the role, but if we're getting rid of the Brand New Day stuff and we're just talking about the actress herself, I think she would be good. Not the best for the role, though.
Okay.
I think you cooked with Jack Champion though. That was definitely
All
a
right.
really damn great pick, if I do say
You
so
know the other thing I
myself.
didn't mention about Jack Champion. I'm pretty sure he was asked about it last year in like summer of last year in an interview on like a YouTube podcast, and he was like, I wasn't aware of this, but I would love it. Like, it's been pitched to him. He's not like publicly campaigned for it for playing Cyclops, but anyway, yeah, I think Sadie Sink would be great if she ends up being the one we find out. But and like you said, there's a chance she plays a different character. Maybe it's a character that we don't even like see her. Like, maybe it's like hidden behind some makeup and stuff, or like she's an alien looking character where we don't really see her face. Similar to how well, what am I thinking of? She was in Eternals, but she was also in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie before then. Um, she was in Crazy Rich Asians. I'm forgetting her character. Gemma Chan.
Aquafina? I don't know.
Gemma
Oh,
Chan. Remember, she played like a random alien in one of the Guardians movies, and then she was one of the leads in the
I mean,
Eternals
look at
film.
Eben Moss
So
Bachrach. He,
yeah,
played Micro, and then he went on to play, you know,
yeah.
uh,
Well, HND
the
SMW
thing.
KWRD seems to think that we've got a spot on with this. So Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
bullshit. Anyway,
Now we go to our honorable mentions. We got one apiece for Cyclops,
yes.
and I think somebody already
And
asked about Harris Dickinson. I think Kavi did. So good
yeah,
on you.
so here's the thing about Harris Dickinson. Like, apparently, according to rumor, he's the type of guy they want. Um, so they're like, I'm like, why? Might as well include him. I think he's good for the role. He has the look. He has the acting ability. He's been in a wide range of projects. I think he would be good. The only problem is he's, going to be a Beatle. So, I think he's going to pretty much be off the table for like the next decade doing those movies. So, I think isn't he playing John Lennon? Isn't that what it
I think
is?
so. I think so. Yeah.
So he's going to be off the table. But I still think, might as well throw in the guy because they said they wanted a Harris Dickinson type. I'm like, might as well throw the guy that introduced
That was the rumor.
that type
Yeah. That was the rumor.
of roles. So, and I think he would be good. He definitely has the look for it. And then Abigail Cohen, I think she's kind of an Annalise Basso type where I think she's proven herself. But the thing is, even less so than Annalise Basso, she hasn't really been in something to really showcase her talents. Like she was in like that fairy show Winx Saga or whatever the fuck, and like a lot of stuff like that.
She was. Oh, right. Okay. Wasn't that based on
I
like
think this
Barbie
could be
dolls?
the big step in her career. So she's like kind of like she's a little bit of a somebody, but not quite as much to like have a hefty salary like someone like Sadie Sink. So I think she would be a good in-betweener.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, Harris Dickinson would be perfect, but again, like you said, he's tied up with those 4 movies. Well, aren't they like it's 1 movie per member, right? So it's not. Are they going to be
like
all
each one is going to be the protagonist, but they're still.
But they're also going to. So they're basically in 4. Okay.
So, because like Paul Mescal said, he's like, I'm taking a break because next time you'll see me, I'm going to be in this quadrilogy of Beatles movies. So,
Yeah, and these Marvel movies tend to become like the biggest thing on your calendar as an actor. Like, Elizabeth Olsen would talk about how she couldn't really do much else when she was.
That's why I put him as an honorable mention because he probably doesn't have the schedule for it. So,
Yeah. But hey, it's still good. I mean, look, again, there was a rumor that they're looking for a Harris Dickinson type, so doesn't get any better than Harris Dickinson himself. I mean, Paul Mescal, similar situation. I guess they'll hold on to Hugh Jackman
There's
until Paul
only
Mescal
one name
frees
for
up.
Wolverine, and that's Jared Keeso. Jared Keeso is the only man to play Wolverine in a reboot after they finally get rid of Hugh Jackman. Please, for the love of God, give us Jared Keeso. Like, Jared Keeso was born to play Wolverine. Give him the fucking role, you fucking coward, Kevin.
All right. So with that in mind, John, before we finish up, we got a couple of things to get into. You guys sent us your picks if you're watching live.
Here's the thing. I will say one more thing before we move on. Yeah. Milo Gibson, probably not the best thing since he would be playing Wolverine, who is battling a Holocaust survivor, and considering who Milo Gibson's father is, maybe not the best course of action. So let's not do Milo Gibson as Wolverine. Anyway.
All right, so let's go through
them.
Let's go through your picks that you guys sent us in the live chat. And if you aren't watching us live, you can still send us your picks in the comments down below. We'll bring them into the Q&A session on DCU Daily next Friday, as we do at the end of every week. But yeah, John, let's go through some of the picks that the folks were sending us while we were going through ours.
Just getting rid of some of the older ones. So initially, Kavi gave a bunch of his. Madeline Petch, not the best actress.
What is she known for?
Jane Levy, I think maybe like 10 years ago she could have been a really good Jean Grey, but I think she's just a bit too old now. Sadie Sink, you already mentioned. And Elle Fanning, I think, could be good. It just, I just can't see her in the role. I can't put her face into the character, but she could probably be good.
Jane Levy's in the Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist and Evil Dead from 2013. And then The Strangers is where Madeline Petch. Oh, yeah, those 2 movies weren't very good. Anyway, let's keep on going.
And then Brenton Thwaites and Olivia Cook. I think Brenton Thwaites would be amazing as Cyclops. I did consider
Olivia Cook, too.
Too old now. Olivia Cook. She was actually the runner-up for Hawkeye or Kate Bishop if Haley Steinfeld didn't take the role.
it's amazing that she can pull off she's in House of the Dragon, right?
Yep.
I'm like she's okay. She's meant to be playing like a young, like yeah. I guess like that's she's not meant to skew old in that role, but still like yeah. I think this would definitely work as a like a partnership chemistry wise because at least look in terms of how they look, they would feel closer to the version that we got in the 2000s X-Men movies. Olivia Cook's looks certainly like you'd be looking at a peak of their prime Jean Grey, peak of their prime Cyclops.
Cyclops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if that's the direction they go in.
So then you have Harris Dickinson. We already talked about that. Sadie Sink. We already talked about that. Corey Milcreast. I'm not familiar with him. I know he was in that Queen Charlotte show. I looked up him. Has an insanely punchable douchebag face. So that's probably good for Cyclops because Cyclops is insanely a punchable douchebag. So, I think that could work. They said Noah Jupe. I could see Noah Jupe. I think he's talented and I think he's really grown into his own. But I think he could. I think he could definitely do it. You already mentioned Harris Dickinson. Max Burkholder. I have no fucking clue who that is.
Is that one of those like old actors that Stacy is suggesting? I can't tell if that's a...
Oh no, he's the oh my god, I always forget. He's the kid from Ted. He plays young Mark Wahlberg.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, there's a second season of that coming. So, yeah.
I could see that. Would be an out there choice, but I think you could see it.
Yeah.
So what happened? What happened to him? What happened to Wolverine? I don't know, but they got him. What do you mean they got him? They got him. Like I was friends with him too. I liked him. Wait, what are you talking about? What do you mean they got him?
He just has a Boston accent for no reason. That's great. Yeah. Oh my god.
Sophie Thatcher, she could be good. I think she would be a little bit older for who they want, but I think she could be great as Jean Grey. If old is okay, Alexandra Daddario, yeah, I could see it. Drew Barrymore, way too old. Jane Lev, we already talked about that. No. Sosie Bacon?
Man, Stacy's going for some deep, like...
I assume the child of Kevin Bacon? Yes. Oh my god, she looks almost exactly like the amalgamation of Kevin.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. I just looked at the photo.
I think she's around that range. I think she could be pretty good. She hasn't really done a lot and
no, I hear you, but like this is literally like one of those like iPhone apps that they used to have where you like put the two celebrities together what their baby would look like. That is Sosie Bacon. Kyra Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon's daughter. She's in her 30s, so I mean again she'd be more closer to Famke Jensen when she got cast in the 2000s age.
And then Jane Lev, we already mentioned that. Madeline Petch, we already mentioned that. Madeline Klein, I am familiar, but let me see.
She was in the second Knives Out movie, remember? With Batista?
Never. Oh yeah, I forgot that movie existed. Honestly, I try to put that somebody said Joe Keery as Angel. I could see that. Yeah. I could see Joe Keery as Angel, and then somebody already predicted your shit because of the thumbnail. Yeah. Elle Fanning as Jean Grey. We already talked about that. Henry Cavill, since he's always linked with everything.
Just let him play Cyclops. Let him play Cyclops.
Henry Cavill as Cyclops. Henry Cavill as Jean Grey. Henry Cavill as Professor X. That's just how the internet is.
The Cavalrine meets the Cavclops. I don't know. That doesn't.
I don't know, but
the Cycwill.
Fuck no, definitely not.
Timothy.
Jack Champion dude has a 90s TV show rock band name. Honestly,
he totally does. And what's wrong with that? I think that's fantastic.
A great fucking name, man.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have champion in your name.
If you do like a Kelsey Grammer, it like close to that iteration of Beast, then Henry Cavill could definitely pull that off. But you know what? The answer's already staring us in the face. If Henry Cavill's gonna be in the X-Men movies, he's gonna be the new Wolverine. Henry Cavill is Sadie Sink. Now you're just being sexist.
Too old, but I think he could do it. Like it's just like I think he's too old for who they want.
Yeah.
So.
Also, he's never really caught on to any of these superhero movies. Maybe he's just not interested. Um, I mean, one of you guys is just insistent that Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. So I guess we'll find. Like I said, we'll find out when we
Um,
get the trailer for Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
but
Um,
Noah Schnapp as Iceman, that could be pretty
that could
good.
work.
Um,
Although I don't know if like because he's gay is the only like that's not the reason why you cast him per se. It's just
yeah,
you do it because he's a good fit for the
I
role.
mean, Vincent Price, Rock Hudson, and Anthony Perkins had children, so that's not how being gay works, but like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, another Bacon in the MCU, lol.
Well, this time not playing herself per se, because Kevin Bacon is Kevin Bacon in the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Anyway,
I
but
would love
yeah,
to see Kevin
those
Bacon
are.
make a cameo in like Secret Wars. That would be amazing if like, and that's like a little
He's
Kevin
the one
Feige
that saves
nod
the
to James
day. He's
Gunn.
like,
Kevin
you
Bacon.
know,
Because then you can actually have a dance off bro moment, like Chris Pratt is as Star Lord does like dance off bro, and then Kevin Bacon shows up and you actually do a duet to save the universe that or the multiverse. That'd be great. I would love that. Star Lord and Kevin Bacon defeated Doctor Doom. That would be the ultimate finale to the multiverse saga. So, yeah, I mean, Cavill is playing, an immortal in Highlander. So, but he is not immortal because he broke his leg doing it. But John, before we finish up, we
oopsies.
have a tier list Tuesday coming up on Tuesday. So we've got a poll up for that. It's in the community post section. You guys can go check it out on the YouTube channel. But what we can do right now is go through the details. John, walk us through the options. This is your time, your chance to pop your 2026 tier list Tuesdays cherry. And here's the four options you've got to work with.
So again, Jordan Peele fucking taking strays. Goddamn, y'all are some racist son of a bitches. Anyway, so the top one is 2025 superhero movies. So essentially ranking, Superman, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Toxic Avenger, kind of, sorta, and any other, and oh yeah, Captain America, and maybe like one or two others that we kind of forgot about, like that are more indie
Oh, I,
related.
I actually found okay, so we would do Superman, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Captain America,
Captain America.
Brave New World, the Old Guard 2, Dogman, and the Toxic Avenger. So
Okay. Kind of pushing it, but sure.
no, but like
Then
I
we have
mean, it's
James
superhero
Cameron
movies.
movies.
Yeah.
We're bringing that back with honor of Fire and Ash, so we're bringing that back. Then we have Jordan Peele, in honor of like the idea, like, oh, he might do an MCU movie. Hope not, but Then we have MCU's wasted multiverse characters, so there's that.
I still would love to do that. I know Caleb was campaigning for it. He was like, vote for multiverse, wasted multiverse characters because he wants to
Well, they're coming back next
hashtag
week because it
damage.
looks like superhero movies is gonna win. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's pretty far ahead. But you know what? Not a lot of you guys have voted on this, so please do go and vote if you haven't already. If you have, then ask your friend to vote. Tell your friends, tell your grandma, tell your neighbors, tell your other YouTube friends, tell your Discord buddies. Go and vote for this because we'd love to see you on Tier List Tuesday. Of course, for us, we're done for the week. But this was the first day of shows for us in the new year. And we'll be back on Monday with DCU Daily. We're back on Tuesday with DCU Daily. Then we have Tier List Tuesday right after. Then we'll be live on Friday with another DCU Daily and Fancast Friday. The poll for that will go up next Tuesday. But yeah, until then, guys, of course, remember, we're not live for January and February on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We'll be using that
yes.
time to bring you some new content and try to, get some rest because, burnout is a real thing on YouTube. You guys, I'm sure you're aware. So we're trying to use some of that time to rest up. And then, as the movie season picks up, we'll be here 5 days a week. But with that said, don't forget to vote for Tier List Tuesday. And then don't forget to have a great weekend. It's still, for a lot of you guys, the New Year's holidays. So hope you had a wonderful New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And now go watch some movies at the box office weekend and then come and talk to us about it on Monday. Anything else to add to that, John?
Go see Marty Supreme because I might.
Hey, Ron.
Go see any other movies that you might be interested in. Fucking go to your local movie theater, give them all the money, make sure they can survive so Ted Sarandos isn't a piece of shit and ends them all within the next few years. So do that.
Absolutely. And with that,
And
everybody,
also fuck Jeff Snyder and fuck Tom King, because I have to say that too.
we will see you on Monday, another episode of DCU Daily.
Yes.